The world has always underestimated the Philippines. For decades, analysts looked at the numbers, saw the challenges, and wrote it off as a country of promise, but not power. But beneath the surface of every headline, behind every statistic, something extraordinary has been building. A quiet revolution, a transformation that didn't happen overnight, but is now impossible to ignore. The Philippines is no longer defined by its struggles. It's defined by its strength. And that strength is reshaping the future of Asia. Before we begin, comment below where you're watching from. Let's see just how far the Filipino story reaches, from Manila to Madrid, from Cebu to California. Because this isn't just about the economy of one country, it's about a people whose resilience has become their greatest power. A silent force rising. If you ask economists what makes the Philippine economy special, most will talk about remittances, outsourcing, or tourism. But that's just the surface. The truth is deeper and far more powerful. The Philippine economy isn't just surviving, it's evolving, quietly, strategically, and relentlessly. While the world was distracted by crises and competition, the Philippines was laying foundations for something much bigger. At the heart of this transformation lies one of the most dynamic forces in Asia, a combination of people, policy, and persistence. By 2026, the Philippines is projected to become one of the top 20 largest economies in the world, driven by a new wave of industries: technology, infrastructure, energy, and digital finance. This isn't a miracle, it's momentum, decades in the making. The power of resilience. Filipinos have always had a unique relationship with adversity. Earthquakes, typhoons, recessions, the Philippines has faced them all. But instead of breaking, it built something else: resilience. Every setback became an education. Every crisis became an opportunity to adapt. That resilience is now the backbone of the Philippine economy. When the world economy contracted in 2020, the Philippines' comeback was one of the fastest in Southeast Asia. By 2023, GDP growth bounced back to 6.4%, fueled by domestic consumption, infrastructure spending, and foreign investment. The world took notice, not because the Philippines had luck, but because it had learned. The strength beneath the surface. Look closer at what drives this economy, and you'll find something remarkable. It's not just corporations or policies, it's the people. Over 70% of the population is under 35 years old. That's one of the youngest, most digital-savvy workforces in the world. And they're not waiting for opportunities to arrive. They're creating them. From tech startups in Cebu to innovation hubs in Davao, young Filipinos are redefining what it means to build a modern economy. They're fluent in global culture, but deeply rooted in local pride. They speak the world's languages, but they think in Filipino creativity. That combination, global skill, local heart, is something no other country can copy. The trillion-dollar engine economists often describe the Philippines as a consumption-driven economy. But that's too simple. What really drives the economy is trust. Trust in the Filipinos' ability to create, to work, to send, to spend. Every year, over 10 million Filipinos abroad send back remittances, more than $36 billion annually. That's not just money. That's a lifeline that fuels education, business, and dreams. But what's changing is how that money moves. Digital banks, fintech apps, and online remittance platforms have turned those inflows into investment streams. Small towns that once depended on traditional money transfers are now using mobile banking to start businesses, build homes, and access loans. The Philippines isn't just receiving money anymore, it's circulating it smarter and faster. The infrastructure awakening. For years, one of the biggest challenges for the Philippines was infrastructure. Traffic, delays, and limited logistics slowed growth. But that's changing. Fast. Projects once seen as dreams are now realities. The North-South Commuter Railway, connecting central Luzon to Metro Manila. The new Clark City, an eco-friendly, smart metropolis being built from the ground up. The new Manila International Airport, a $10 billion megaproject that will rival Asia's biggest hubs. And that's just the start. Japan, South Korea, and the US have invested billions in roads, ports, and bridges. By 2026, the Philippines will have one of the most modern transport and logistics systems in Southeast Asia. Every kilometer of concrete, every kilometer of railway, that's not just infrastructure. That's confidence made visible. A digital nation in motion. Step inside any Filipino home today, and you'll see something powerful: connectivity. From bustling city cafes to remote islands, digital life is thriving. Over 85 million Filipinos are online, one of the highest internet penetration rates in Asia. And with the rise of e-commerce, digital payments, and freelancing, the Philippines is fast becoming a digital economy powerhouse. Platforms like GCash and Maya have revolutionized how people handle money. Online entrepreneurs sell to the world. Freelancers in design, marketing, and software earn in dollars without ever leaving home. By 2026, digital transactions could make up 70% of all financial activity in the country. That's not just growth, that's transformation. The return of manufacturing. Once, the Philippines was known as a service-based economy, but global shifts are bringing manufacturing back home. As companies look for alternatives to China, the Philippines is emerging as a strategic choice. Politically stable, English-speaking, and close to major Asian markets. Electronics, automotive parts, semiconductors. These industries are expanding fast. Japanese, Korean, and American companies are investing heavily in new industrial parks across Luzon and Visayas. By 2026, manufacturing could contribute over 30% of GDP, creating hundreds of thousands of jobs. The Philippines isn't just assembling, it's innovating. The green transition. In the past, the Philippines was heavily dependent on imported oil and coal. But now it's leading Southeast Asia's shift toward renewable energy, with rich natural resources, solar, wind, and geothermal. The country is building a cleaner future. From the wind farms of Ilocos Norte to the geothermal plants of Mindanao, renewable projects are scaling fast. By 2026, the goal is for 35% of all electricity to come from renewable sources. It's not just good for the planet, it's good economics. Cheaper energy means lower costs for industries and more sustainable growth for communities. Foreign investment floodgate. Confidence attracts capital, and the world is noticing. In 2024 alone, foreign direct investments into the Philippines exceeded $10 billion, with Japan, South Korea, and the US leading the pack. Investors see the Philippines not as a risky market, but as a rising one. Trade agreements through ASEAN and the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP, are opening even more doors. New investors from Europe and the Middle East are moving in, seeing the Philippines as the gateway to Asia's $3 trillion economy. Every investment, every partnership, every handshake, it's not just money, it's faith in the Filipino story. Numbers alone can't explain the Philippine miracle, because the real power behind the economy doesn't come from policies, it comes from people. From the farmers in Mindanao to the call center agents in Makati, from overseas nurses in Dubai to engineers in Tokyo. Filipinos are driving this transformation every single day. They don't just contribute, they connect. They don't just work, they inspire. Every remittance, every idea, every innovation, it all adds up to something extraordinary. A people who refuse to be defeated, a nation that turned struggle into strength, and a future built not on chance, but on courage. Looking toward 2026 and beyond. If the past decade was about recovery, the next will be about leadership. By 2026, the Philippines will be one of Asia's most dynamic economies, powered by youth, innovation, and pride. The challenge now is to sustain that momentum, to ensure that growth reaches every province, every family, every dreamer. And with its unmatched spirit, there's no doubt it will. Because the story of the Philippine economy isn't just about numbers, it's about people who never gave up. The untold power behind the Philippine economy isn't in its skyscrapers or statistics. It's in its heartbeat, in the determination of its people, in the hope that, no matter how tough the times get, tomorrow will always hold something better. That, more than anything, is what makes the Philippines unstoppable. The numbers will change, the leaders will come and go, but the heart of this nation? That's forever. So, where are you watching from? Let's see how far this Filipino story reaches. Because this, right here, is the rise of a nation. This is the untold power behind the Philippine economy.